Hi, this is Angela from Warp Weft. Today I'm going to try out some alcohol inks that I bought. I'd like to have a go at this. I've never done it before. I'd like to have a go at this in order to perhaps incorporate it into my journals. So I've done a bit of research, got some decent alcohol inks here. I've got sangria and pink, going to give those two a go. I've got myself some 100% alcohol and a little dropper bottle to put it in. I've only just put a little bit in the bottom there. And I'm going to try out some papers that I happen to have around the house. So I'm going to start with this. This is came with a printer we bought a while back. There was about 3 sheets in there. I'm using one of the sheets because I don't tend to print photographs. So we'll see how that goes. I'm also going to use this Kodak premium photo paper. It was on special, so I grabbed a pack. I think it was half price. We'll see how that goes. I'm also using some Yupo paper that I bought from eBay. It's not a branded Yupo paper, so I have no idea how this one's going to work out. It'd be interesting to see, but for the price, it was a reasonable price. So I'll give it a go. I have cut a slice. It cuts nicely in a guillotine, so we'll see how it goes with the inks. And lastly, I've got a bleed-proof pad here. So Montmartre, they make a range of art materials in Australia. This says no bleed through to next page, ideal for graphic markers. Ignore my little message that I put on there. Must have been some years ago. I bought this originally to use for alcohol markers. It's 80 GSM, comes in A4, it's 50 sheets, it's acid free, and it's the same price as buying a pad of Yupo paper, except that a pad of Yupo paper has 10 sheets in it and this has 50. So we'll see how this goes. It does have a shiny side and a dull side, which makes it ideal for using in journals because you can do alcohol ink on the shiny side, and then the dull side you can either use to glue it down, or you can put something on the back of this, decorate it quite easily, and the glue will stick. So we'll have a go and see what happens. This is the Canon paper that came with my printer. First thing I don't like about it is the fact it's got Canon written across the back. So given that we're going to be using the back of this paper, it's not that great having the logo all over your work. Let's have a go and see what happens. It's spreading fairly well. It's a bit tatty at the edges. So that's the sangria, and this is the pink. I'll just put that there. It was a bit fluoro. And I'll just let them dry off a little bit, which they seem to be doing reasonably well. Okay, I'm going to use the ink. Now, as I said before, I'm not going to be using any kind of blower. I'm just going to see how well it moves around the paper. Which doesn't appear to be all that well. Let me put some more on. It's running in lines. Let's put some on the sangria so we can see a little bit better. I'm trying to see if I can get a wispy edge here. So this at least does flow. Just put some on there and see if I can get it to flow down. To give me a wispy edge. Up and down. Okay, so all I can say about this is it isn't staying on the edge, but where the ink was, I can still see that Canon logo. Let me see if I can get a good coverage over that Canon logo there. No, it's not that great. Okay, so I would say in my book this one is a fail because I can't get rid of that Canon logo. This is the Yupo paper that I bought from eBay. It's unbranded. I can't tell the difference between the sides, so we might have to try doing this one and then flipping it over onto the other side. But we'll give it a go and see how it works. So that's spreading out. Still a little bit ragged around the edge. Let me try another drop of the pink here. It's a little bit fluoro for my liking. Okay, so am I able to blend those two? No. Okay, so I'm going to put a bit of alcohol on that and see how we go, how it moves around. Well, all I can say is moves around as well as the photo paper appeared to. Move that down and see if I can get a wisp. Okay. Now I'm just going to blot that off on a piece of paper and try the other side, see if that's any better. Okay, let's try the other side. Spreading out. And moving. Okay. Whoops. Hold that knob away. What happens when I do that? little runs. At least it's not soaking in straight away. Okay. As I said, I'm not very experienced with alcohol ink, but for those of you that are, you'll be able to understand how this is working in comparison to what you're currently using. This next test is a piece of paper it's matte on one side and it's shiny on the other. It is Montmartre bleed proof paper that I've just cut a slice from. So I'm going to put the ink on this same way as I did before, same colours that I used before. Sorry, I knocked the table there. So I'm using the shiny side, and that's spreading out very quickly, very fast, as is that. I'm just going to leave that. I actually might run the colours together and see what happens. And they seem to be mixing much better than any other of the paper that I've tried so far, including the so-called Yupo paper that I got on eBay. Okay, let's have a go. Putting some alcohol on that. And what's happening there. Moving quite well. I'll try this side. Put some there. Might actually put it above and see if I can get that all to move down. Ah, yes, that seems to be moving the best of all of them. Rather like that. This is the Kodak paper that I'm trying out now. Already, again, it's got the logo all over the back, so I'm not really happy about that. That's a negative straight away. So I'm going to try those same inks. That's not spreading very well. Second drop on there. And I'll put a little bit on there. Okay, so that's drying very quickly, except for the middle bit, but it seems to have dried very quickly and it's gone right through. Okay, that's not a good sign. Let me try putting some alcohol on this. And guess what? It's not moving around at all. So for me, let me give this a bit more in the middle. Even where it is coming out, there's very little ink spreading. Okay, double fail. It's got the logo all over it. It seeps right through and it's not moving at all. Okay, this is going to be absolutely no use whatsoever. Unless, of course, I wanted to paint, in which case I'd probably use that side, because this side is covered with logos. Look how quickly that's drying. Seeping right in. Okay, big fail on the Kodak paper for alcohol ink. So these samples have now dried, and just to recap, the Kodak one, it's got the logo on the back, it doesn't spread at all, no use for alcohol ink art. This is the Canon photo paper. It has smooched about quite a bit. I like the dried finished version where with some of the the faint edges around it. But again, you can still see the Canon logo on the back. So for me, that's a fail. Now the Yupo paper, the unbranded Yupo paper, was fine. But I noticed this when I reviewed the video, these bluey greeny areas are starting to come out. Now, none of the ink that I used was bluey or greeny. It's not bleed through from the other side, because that's got its own bluey greeny kind of spots on it. So I'm not 100% sure that I'm happy with this paper, given what's happening in the middle there. And this is the Montmartre paper. Yeah, it's a bit strange. That's because I blotted it out. But it moved the best of all the paper. I quite liked it. I noticed when I looked at the video, I actually wasn't showing you the actual make, so it's Montmartre. If you'd like to see more of my work or more of my artistic experiments, please hit the subscribe button below.